So hey,
Are we live?
it says we're live.
How do I look? I know I cleaned up around here.
Yeah, you clean up every week before the show, and I really appreciate that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Mind Your Creative Business. I'm Ed
Yeah,
Shems. This guy is,
Terrence Moline.
there you
Yeah,
go.
and
And I'm,
I finally removed the own out of the title. I think officially in my head. I know it took a lot
folks,
of work.
let me explain that, we've been doing this since November. And
So,
every single time Terrence writes anything about this conversation, he writes, mind your own creative business. And I'm like, no, mind your creative business. Come on, take away the ownership of it.
putting the
So
flair
I'm
on it.
really glad you've matured.
I've been working on it. So while I am making sure that we are live
Yeah,
everywhere,
yeah.
why don't you fill the people in on what we're talking about today?
Oh, this is a conversation that I've been looking forward to having because I think it's so important. It's about we need to talk about conveying confidence with your to your clients. And it's one of those things that I remember being a young creative. I know. I look really young. I know. Woohoo. Hello, Leanne. Uh,
Oh,
thanks for
so we're
joining
live
us.
somewhere for sure. Good.
We are. I can't tell from where she's. Oh no, she's. That's from LinkedIn. Okay, got
All
it.
right. We're
We
on.
are all over the place right now. By the
I
way,
know.
based on what Terrence told me before, we're going live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All of the guild's channels.
Yeah. But those of you on LinkedIn, you could think that we're just doing it for you.
Just for you. So to continue on, being a young creative, it was really hard because there were a lot of questions I had about how I should be running my business or how I should be delivering files to my clients or am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank Darcy. Oh my gosh, Darcy is there massaging my ego. Thank you.
Oh.
Um, so one of the reasons why I joined the guild, and I'm not trying to proselytize here at all, is because of the community of having people around you to bounce things off of and to ask, am I doing this right? Uh, what file format should I be creating X in? I remember when I was a newbie and I'd started designing T-shirts for the tourist industry in the Boston area, and then
Oh.
I was branching out to other cities as well. Um, at one point, I was in the Museum of Science and the New England Aquarium. And early on, I was like, I'm going to do a Boston T-shirt, and I'm going to do it for the first time ever in Photoshop. And this is a long time ago. And I didn't understand how to set up the file, and I created a really small file and sent it off to a printer. And they were nice enough to kind of hold my hand and explain to me how where I went wrong. And and I
Hmm.
remember there was a member of the Graphic Arts Guild named Leo Abbott, and I bumped into him a few times in the past many years, and thanked him because I came to him and I'm like, help me set up my files, help me
Oh.
understand how to, and it was just instrumental. And yes, some of that you can find online, but sometimes it's just really nice to have a person. So that's one of the things I love about being a part of a community, in this case the Graphic Arts Guild. And so anyway, so today we're going to be talking about how to convey confidence, why it's important to convey confidence. I think that's probably it, right?
Yes. And I want to say hi to Maria Gonçalves.
Maria,
I hope I didn't kill it. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
first time here for her.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
Hmm.
So what would you like to add, Terrence?
Well, I think before we have these things, we play kind of like what's a good word not for roulette. We kind of like just like juggle things up and try to figure out what page we're going to talk about. And
Uh-huh.
I think what you said about finding somebody in the guild or in your network to help guide you so that you can be more confident about the things you do is a very necessary step in the growth of a creative,
Yeah.
especially as a creative entrepreneur. The thing that stood out to me when I was reading and we were kind of researching what topic to talk about, on page, what is it, page
38 was it?
38, I think it is.
Or 36 was the beginning. Yeah.
36. Artists must also ensure that clients are clear about the skill set required and who the appropriate artist is for work. Though that doesn't sound, it sounds easy. I
Where are
found
you?
that, oh, did 30, what? Professional relationships?
Yeah.
Page two. Hey, the book, right?
Oh, okay, good. We're on
Right,
page fifth.
right,
So far, so
right.
good. Now page
Yeah,
38.
see,
Yeah.
two.
So now where are you? Oh,
I'm
you're like
on
in
the,
the middle of a paragraph. I'm looking at
yeah.
the main paragraph here, and I'm like,
No,
I don't see the word
see,
artists. Yeah. Okay. Got
what
it.
was funny was you brought up this page first, and I didn't realize that I had it underlined already. And
Oh,
yeah, and so I was just like, much ensure that clients are clear about the sales scan. I think that's one of the problems that designers and illustrators that we all have in terms of confidence. Like, we're trying to do so many different things just to make
yeah.
money and survive that we feel like we're the proverbial jack of all trades, right? And I think
Right.
that that does weigh into like being able to sell yourself confidently. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And one of my favorite quotes is from Jessica Hish,
Heesh, one
who's
of the six.
she's amazing. She's an amazing
Yeah.
typographer and type designer and letterer. I don't want to misspeak here. And one of my favorite quotes was one that I heard at Icon, the illustrators conference. This is
Mhm.
years ago. It was, "Do what you do best and delegate the rest." So
Yes.
if you don't have the skill set, all the skill sets, which I know I don't have all the skill sets,
Mhm.
Terrence, you have many skill sets. Terrence, it sounds like your
My
sound
sound's
is
cutting
cutting.
out.
Oh,
Thanks,
you sound
Pat.
fine to me, so might be Pat. I hope.
Okay.
Pat, let us know,
Thanks.
please, or anyone else, let us know if he's cutting out. So, Terrence has a lot of skill sets. I have some, and if there's anything that I don't have, I don't feel like I absolutely have to figure out how to, I don't know, 3D animate, just in case I get a job, just in case some project comes into my lap and they say, hey, we need a 3D animate. You know what? I have people for that. And so there are plenty of designers and animators out there who I can tap. Terrence, your sound is going a little bit wide now. There we go. There was a lot of
Hold
background noise.
tight. Is
Okay,
it better?
you sound great. Anyone else
Give me.
weigh in? Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead. Okay. So it's important that you don't feel like you're overwhelmed. There's something new that's just come out. So, um, how to use AI. Well, that's the new thing coming out. For example, you can make sure that you're tapped into a community or just a bunch of people. And one of the things I talk about a bit in one of my talks, which is called Ready Set Freelance, it's that you can find collaborators anywhere. And Pat, that's hysterical. Pat said it's kind of like a kung fu movie. Oh, I guess you're not
Oh
saying something,
no.
parents. I know, sorry. Um, so you can find collaborators anywhere. You go to a conference, you go to Icon, you go to a How Design conference, you go to any one of those, and you'll find, oh my gosh, I was speaking to myself only, that there are people there who have the skills that you don't have, and you connect with them. You find people who you like, who do great work, who are good communicators, et cetera, et cetera. And those are the people that you tap into when a job comes your way that you don't know how to do. So there you go. That's my answer. I forget what the question was. Anyone else remember?
So am I still kung fuing it?
You sound great. Well, you sound great to me. You need to work on your ventriloquism though. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
See if you can do it. See if you can talk without moving your mouth, and then there won't be a problem.
Hmm. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I might switch cameras in a second. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Okay. I'm just gonna talk like this for a while. All right. So here I
Got
go. Uh, um, so let's dive into the conversation. And folks, as you can see, we can see your comments live. It's really awesome. So if you have comments, if you have questions, thank you, Julie. then please put them in the wherever you are, put them in the comment section, and we'll see that in the chat. And so let's dive in. Terrence, let's talk about conveying confidence and why that's important. Because, and if you want to start, I'm happy to start. I think you should start though, because I've been talking way too much.
Me conveying confidence.
Yeah, so far you're not
Okay.
doing very well.
Yeah, no, it's my tech, my tech. Am I caught up now? I feel like I'm caught up. Everybody, am I caught up? He's kung fu fighting for his life for the audio. I am. I am now. It's true. We all
That's
get
from
it.
that's from
Okay.
Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So conveying confidence, I'm going to go back to try to loop in what I was talking about before the kung fu stuff. Yes, Unique. We are live on multiple platforms. Um, artists in trying to find your confidence. I think for me, I was always afraid to focus on one thing just because I felt like it wouldn't help me make the money I needed. But it's because the mindset, I'm scrambling to make money. So I'm trying to do all the things that I can to help
Right.
bring revenue in and convey that I am like a skilled creative business owner. And I think that's the fault a lot of us make. And back to what you were saying earlier, like just identifying people who have skills who can add to your community so that you can build
Yep.
your confidence through them. It has been a better path for me. Oh, it's better? Thank you so much. I had to switch modes and frequency on my camera and that changed everything. Too much tech can be troublesome.
Thank you, everyone, for your input there. That's really
Yes.
helpful.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things that I have been working on is having this "I've got this" attitude and
Mhm.
mentality, where I've done enough jobs, and it kind of helps that I've done enough jobs that I actually can get them all done, and I can do a great job, and I've proven myself to myself as well as to clients. Of course, that's incredibly important, but you also have to prove it to yourself. And when you're done with a project, you got to sit back, look at the project, and kind of pat yourself on the back. And if you can't pat yourself on the back, then you need to figure out why not.
Mm.
What did you not get right? What do you need help with? And hopefully you'll do this before you deliver the finals to your client, because
Oh.
this is the point where you then reach out to a friend, to the community, and you ask them for input, and you tell them, I'm having issues with this part of the project. Can you give me some suggestions, some input?
Hmm.
And 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 if you can sit back and say, job well done, well, maybe you should kind of keep score.
Well,
Maybe you should have like a chalkboard where you're like, I'm happy with this one. Because
yeah.
in a year, and I apologize, Terrence,
No, no, you're good.
in a year, you're going to not like that project as much. And that's not because you did a bad job. That's because you keep improving. And that is so important. I have a good friend who is a very high up person in a design firm, an interior design firm. And I bumped into him once, and he was talking about how some of the projects he convinced his company to go forward with were he's so not proud of them, but they were the stepping stones he needed and the company needed to get to these better projects and do these better jobs on these projects. It is completely normal for you to look back and hate your work, but you have to look forward and love where you're going.
Yeah. And you have to have other people in your community to show you their ugly work. Like just like it's baby steps.
That's so true.
Yeah. And that helps create confidence because you're like you see somebody else struggling, you see where they were and where they are now. And I think that helps. And it's hard to do that without community. I'll be very honest. And I try not to be the guy who's like making jujitsu analogies with every single thing. But like you said, you got to get in the reps. Like yesterday at class, that's what it was. Like somebody's like, "Oh, I'm just not used to this position," and I'm like, "Yes, because you just haven't practiced it enough, and you've got to practice it with other people."
Yeah.
And all of us need to look at you and say, "Yeah, your problem is not that you suck at it. You just need to do it more." And that's why community has been important to me throughout the span of my life to help me grow and be more confident in how I deal with clients. I don't know if it shows when I'm dealing with clients, because when it comes to money, we all have our fears and things that tap on our insecurities. But these are ways that I think that you can, through community, just be more confident. You've got the
That's right.
pack behind you.
And I love, Kathy, we'll get to your comment in just a moment, but I love what Pat's saying about, you, I know Pat was joking about not listening to the clients, um, but their point stands that if you, if you're always being so critical about your work, you're never going to finish the revisions. And that's again why you need to have people to bounce things off of so that you can get concise feedback, and also so that you get your clients to give you concise feedback. I have some clients who there are three people in the deciding room, and I tell them, you guys, I don't want to see three emails from you all. I want you all to email yourselves, decide, and one of you is in charge. Decide which ones you all agree on, which input you all agree on, and then just send me one email that's from all three of you. So let's jump into Catherine's question. Does it still depend somewhat on geography? New York expects illustrators to be a very characteristic style. So I'm not familiar with this. I'm sorry, Catherine. This doesn't ring a bell to me. I've been an illustrator for 30 years. I started out, when I left RISD, I had three different styles, which I didn't want to let go of. And so I just went ahead and I created Ed, Fred, Ned. Each one was a
Mhm.
different style, and I went forward with that. But that was only because I didn't want to drop any style. I didn't see any movement in New York, especially, where they were looking for all these different styles. So I'm sorry that I can't really answer that. Let's jump over to
Aaron has a really good question. How
yeah,
would you
okay.
convey confidence when someone approaches you with a task gig you're new to? The "I've never done that before, but I'm sure I can do it" gigs.
To be honest, every job I do is new. It's
Ah,
I've never done everything, and there's always a new angle to something. So I've found that uh, it can be daunting, and I've gone through it feeling daunting, but I've typically always come through. So I know I have the confidence that I've been there and I've done it. But it's harder if you haven't been around the block a few times. But you have to, again, it's about your process. It's about doing research into figuring out what other people have done to solve that particular problem, and then finding your angle on it. And what I love is I love searching. I love doing searches based on ideas and seeing how other people tackled it. And because it gives me permission to think a little bit wider. What are you laughing at? Who's talking?
because Bill said, and while this is not a license to do half-ass work, remind yourself that the client is usually more impressed with the work than you are. That is so true. And I could speak to that, but I want to get to another comment, because and I do have a comment on the last one. Okay, but let's see. I'm very new to the graphic design space. Recently learned how to use Photoshop. Would you suggest that this community process is how I? Yeah.
Yeah, because often we fall in love with our own work and we
Hmm.
think, oh, I want to show this. Well, the question that I ask, I'm going to be doing a portfolio review next week for Mass Art and Design. And the question I'm going to ask them is this the kind of work you want to get? Because
Hmm.
often there are some projects where I have spent probably like 3 or 4 times the amount of time I would typically spend on a project. And that's not, I don't have time to do that regularly. I do that for like special projects of my own. So I'm not going to put that out as representative of the type of art I can do for you, because I can't spend that kind of time. So Siani, that's what you want to think about. Is this the type of work I want to do? Is this the type of work I can consistently do? And so that's, community can kind of help you look at your portfolio in such a way. And I know that AIGA does a portfolio review. I know that there are other portfolio reviews you can do through other organizations. I think the Guild is going to be putting together one at some point.
We should be,
So,
yes.
yeah. So
And
keep an eye out here.
I will also say that I know specifically, I work with our volunteers to work on pieces that I work on a lot. And as long as we work together, to me, those are portfolio pieces. And then, like, even within my business outside of the guild, if you were in my network, in my community, I'm always going to offer opportunities for you to do things because one of the things that I have noticed is people are struggling with having really decent portfolios and they sometimes don't know how to approach it. So that's how
Yeah,
we can all help. And then
absolutely.
I want to get back to one thing briefly about faking it till you make it. Um, that's that's the power of community. And I'm going to take a step down from community because I don't want to like beat people over the head with it. But for me, when there's a gig that I'm not skilled with, I do reach out to other individuals who are skilled in that, and I know that they are my backup, right? So even when I
Hmm.
approach a client, I'm like, hey, my team handles this. And I'm going to put you in contact with both of us. And then we're going to talk about that so they can talk confidently about what they do. And then you can cut them some money, even if it's like, hey, I'm going to charge you $100 off of this project just to consult me. That's a good way to build relationships and then learn something so that you can approach more clients with confidence in that very specific area.
I want to hear people's comments to that. I
Siani, go ahead.
I was just saying that I posted to Siani. I posted that the New England region, and it's now going to be a more broader thing for the whole guild. We do a show off and tell every month, and there's one coming up next Wednesday, a week from today, and that's a good place to show your work and
Yeah,
get input from people.
yeah. Pat says that it is fun to go back 20 years and realize you were good. You know what? I have. I should next time I'll bring my camera. So I have these are all of my journals. I have like 30 of them. One of the things that I saved from Katrina because they were like high. Um, I was smart. And so yeah, it is. It's astonishing to look back at your work and then look at some of the old ideas that you thought were horrible, and all of a sudden you see them in a new light because you're not being a critic. You've given it time for you to like look at it again with new eyes, and I think that's another way for us to be better at working and be more confident. Like sometimes we just get stuck in that tunnel and we think we can force it to work, and sometimes it's not what we need to do. We need to step away from it and show it to somebody else and just be confident enough and not shy to involve other people in our process.
Love that. Um, Speaking of old work, right at the beginning of my career, I got a whole series of books for John Wiley, and they were like all activity books. And when I look back at them, I kind of cringe because my cartoony style was so loose back then. And now I'm like, okay, if that nose doesn't come out perfect, I'm deleting it and redrawing it 12 more times until it's exactly right. And it took me a while to realize that actually there's nothing wrong with it. I wasn't a bad artist. It's just I've grown beyond that style and I've grown to a point where I would prefer to draw a better nose or better fingers. And it's okay to give yourself permission to be bad. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about. Give yourself permission to consider your old work not up to par with your current work. And I want to give all of you permission to just be okay with that
Yeah,
and know that it's okay. You're all growing. We're all growing. We're all maturing. And you know, yay you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
can you hear my dog barking in the background? Sorry about that.
It's life.
Well, she's very
Okay.
confident.
Oh
She's like,
yeah.
she's like this big and she sees a dog this big and she barks and then you let her outside and she takes two steps towards the dog and then goes, "Oh, I think I'd rather smell this grocery." And she has the confidence when she's behind a door or a window, but that's it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. You know what I think we should do? I mean, because maybe we should give them a little more time because of my technical difficulties. We can think about it, but I do want to get into more comments because Leanne has a very good one, and then I think we should just open it up to see if anybody has any questions. since
Oh,
everybody's so active today.
yeah, I love Leanne's comment. It's
Yeah.
absolutely, that's, price too low for uninteresting work, but if someone can't pay as high, but the work would be amazing in my portfolio or piques my interest, curiosity, creativity, I'm in. The
Right.
only, Leanne, I think that's gorgeous. I love that. The only thing I want to say, and this is only a minor point, is at the very least, to the client, convey to them that they're going to get a little bit less from you
Mm,
because the cost, because the fee doesn't equal what you typically get. Let them know that, because although you're taking the job and you want the job and it's awesome, instead of getting 3 revisions, they get 2 revisions. Just take something away. Add
yeah.
a week.
Yeah.
Add something that actually doesn't hurt you or them,
Hmm.
just so that they understand that if they're going to have low prices, they have to lower their expectations.
Yep. Yep. And what I really love about that is you can kind of pick where you want to place your value. Like I place high value on concepts. So I'm like, hey, usually I give three. You don't have this much. We're just gonna stick with one concept this time. Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, she said 100%. They get way less revisions.
That's
Right.
right.
Amen to that. Yeah.
I love what Caroline's writing. She's saying, "Gosh, I could talk about this forever. You guys get it. Fake it till you freaking make it, because you
Yeah.
will. You will make it. But
Yeah.
you will make it as long as you are determined and you are organized and you got your stuff together." Am I allowed to swear? I don't know.
No, no, we are not allowed to swear.
And don't be so hard on yourself. Oh my gosh, Caroline, you got this. It
Mm,
took me a long time to grasp this. But you have it now. But I know that there are a lot of newbies out there who they don't have the experience, and I think it's important that you listen to our words and let them hopefully soak in. And it's not going to hit you right away, but you have to understand that we are not sitting here like the most confident people in the world. We are working through it all, and we have worked through a lot as well, and you'll get there too. You just have to persevere,
yeah.
and you have to really like want it and work for it.
See, there you go, Ed, again, trying to instill confidence in them newbies. You know, I'm so glad to be a part of this organization. I really am.
Terrence, I love working with you.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So, no one has any other questions. Y'all
No,
are gonna
I
just let
have
up?
I have something that I have something to talk about.
Okay, let's do it.
Um, here's another confidence builder. Um, just raise your hand or just say yes if you are so panicked when it comes time to quote a price. It's really, really hard. You feel like your stomach has dropped. You press send and you're like, and you have to run away. Like, have you ever done this? Like you type it and you're like, uh, uh, and then you just go, you actually literally look away and you press send.
Yeah,
How many of you have done this? Because this is how a lot of us work, because it's so stressful and you're so worried that they're going to blacklist you because you just asked for actually what the project is worth, um, to you,
mhm,
and they have to recognize that that's what it's worth to them at the very least. And sometimes you are the one who has to explain to them the value of what they are getting. And so that is something that I can't lecture you right here and say, okay, here's how you understand the value of what you're. Actually, I could give me an hour or three. So I'm saying lots of yeses and hands raised. Thank you. Um, so here's what I do. Here's a little clue, and I'm not trying to sell you the book, but this book I use all the time when I get a project for an illustration project that I don't know how to price. So I go in here, I go look for the pricing section. I actually did not have it bookmarked at a time. So wherever it is, doesn't matter. I'm going to pretend I'm there. And I go, okay, so this is a poster design for a publisher. It's going to be geographically everywhere. Here's the price. So then the price is typically really wide. If any of you have experience with the handbook,
mhm.
the price can, and I'm going to pull out these numbers, just random numbers, that it could vary from $500 to $3,000. Well, why? Well, that's because the survey that is used to come up with these prices, it goes out to newbies and it goes out to oldies. And
Mm,
is that a word? And
yeah.
um, so therefore, they're not going to put one number in there and say what's the average between 500 and 3,000, what, like 2,000, 1,500, let's just say. No, 1,750 would be the average, I think.
You're in trouble
Anyway,
if you're asking me to do math.
yeah. Someone check my math. They're not going to put the price 1,750 because a newbie is not going to get that, and someone who's been around for a while definitely gets much more than that. So you got to figure out where you are in that span between 500 and 3,000. So what I typically do, and here's a little hint, and I know we're at the bottom of the hour already, but the hint that I do is I go look at the price. I choose somewhere, for me, this is where I'm comfortable, somewhere in the middle, maybe higher middle. And then I type up my estimate and I say, and I did some research into how to price this. And according to the Graphic Artists Guild's Pricing and Ethical Guidelines Handbook, yes, I write the entire thing out. The typical price is between here and here, and I feel comfortable at this point right here. Now they see that there's a reason behind my numbers. Then they see that I'm not a completely unreasonable person going at the very high end. Again, that's how I feel confident. If you want to push to the very highest, you just have to have your reasoning for it, and you have to be able to explain to them why you feel that you are at the very top of that number. So that's how I use this to build confidence in getting my prices to my clients and letting them know that my prices are actually based in reality, because that's what I worry about. And I know a lot of people worry that the number that they're putting out might not sound real, like they got it from somewhere, like they just went, oh, that price, I'll put them together, I'll add them, and then this is what I'll give the client. And it's like magic pixie dust, but it's really based on actual numbers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And I use the pricing guidelines to anchor them, right? Pricing strategies, right? Show them the high number first and go like, hey, you know, I could charge this because I've researched this and this is my backing. This is the Bible. This is like you can't argue with this. This is fact. But I'm not going to charge that because you're local and I know you this and I know you this. And so you can, through anchoring, make it seem like, you know, I'm worth this much, but I'm choosing to charge you this much. And I found that when I changed that one thing, it was, you know, you said you press send and then you like run. It, it turned from me doing that to me being like, I'm going to send this. And if they don't freak out a little bit, then I did not do my job. You know?
I love that.
Yeah,
I
if they
love
say
that
yes
because
too fast, yeah,
you have the confidence to be able to support your numbers.
yeah,
Sorry, my watch
yeah,
started talking. And I think that's really important. That's confidence is everywhere along these lines. It's the confidence that you can actually get the job done,
mhm,
confidence that you know, for your client, confidence that you can actually figure out how to go about the job. That's you,
mhm,
and then confidence that the pricing that you're giving them, you're not leaving anything on the table,
right,
and they understand the value that they're getting from
right,
your number,
yep. And you're just not
your work.
pulling the number from thin air, right? It's real.
Absolutely. We have some great comments here.
Mhm.
I just want to spend time reading them.
I
So
can throw them
Caroline
up
was
on the
saying,
screen. Which
I
one?
used to undercharge so bad, but now
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
never. Mama's got to eat.
yeah, yeah.
And you're right. You're right. There's a complete lack of
Mhm.
transparency in pricing structures, but pricing is arbitrary. The value, it's about how you convey the value of
Yeah,
what you're providing. And you know, if your website or your Instagram feed is really like, I don't want to use the word ugly, but just like is just basic, then that conveys something. If you have a
mhm,
really expensive looking website, which doesn't have to be expensive, by the way, then you're conveying something else.
mhm,
And so a lot of that has to do with how you set up your business. How does your estimate look? Does your estimate look structured and organized, or does it look willy-nilly and ugly, and is your logo even on it? And all of that stuff is so important. And then one last thing I want to get to is your about page
mhm.
on your website. And I'm going to be doing a presentation for the guild in May, and or June, I forget. And it is going to be all about the about page and why it's so important. And I'll just give you a little primer right now. Is it primer or primer?
I go with primer.
I do too, but someone yesterday said primer. Um, and that is that losing my train of thought, but and that is that uh, one of my most visited pages is my about page on my website
Mm,
because people want to know not just the kind of work I do, but just something about me. And I give them testimonials. I give probably too much on my about page, but I give a short version of my bio and then I give a longer version of my bio. There's a photo of me. They can put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So all of that helps to convey confidence, like you know what you're doing and I'm worth this money.
yeah. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think about the way I convey confidence, but that's so different through my brand. And I'm actually gonna answer one of Myra's questions. I'd like to talk about that shortly with you. Why are so many designers not sure how to price their work? My answer is because they're in their own silo, living in the wild, not talking to people, not understanding like the places that they can look for to understand how to better price their work, not just not talking to other people. And I think the challenge is with design, we are creating our own value. With any creativity, you are creating your own value, and a lot of us, I feel, struggle with understanding our own value and struggle to understand who we really are at our core. And that's a very scary thing to say, but I kind of feel like that is some of the root of why it's so hard for creatives
Mm-hmm.
to price their work. And they're struggling with, I love doing this as a creative and it touches my soul. And I have to do this for money to eat. And I think that battle is something we all deal with. And that's part of the problems too.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, Myra had a, was it Myra? No,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, oh, sorry.
Yes, Myra had another good question. Um,
Mm.
and it kind of fell below my fold, so I have to find it again. It was
Uh,
about what
the
about
ethical.
the ethical guidelines in this book? Who does it apply to?
Mhm.
So part of it has to do with what the art director can ask of you, um, how to go about thinking about what to offer to your client when it's time to put together a contract. Uh, I'd have to kind of dig through a little bit longer to see this because I don't really read that section because I am so ethical.
Mm.
Uh, that was just my way of saying I haven't read that section.
Yeah. Myra also
But
asked, do they not learn about this book in school? And I'm like, yeah, we are trying to make sure more universities have this book, but it's also up to those universities.
I know that RISD gives this book to their graduating seniors in February of their graduating year. So, which is wonderful, but it also should be brought in earlier to many schools because there's so much answered in here, but there's so much. I think one of the most important things about the book is it gets you thinking and realizing how much more there is to the business. And when I graduated, I jumped into being a freelancer, and I didn't see it as a business. I saw it as a cool. I get to draw, and it took me a while to get there. And I skipped taking. I took a few business courses, but I didn't take that many, or I didn't take them seriously enough. And it just took me a while to kind of figure things out for myself. And this book would have made me go, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, I hadn't thought about geography and indemnification clauses and why that's important and copyright. Should I be worried about my copyright? How do I protect it? All that stuff." And we should talk about that another time. Just
So
let's just talk about copyright.
yeah, and I want to be respectful of your time. We have like a flood of
I
comments
know.
coming in. Do you have some time to address them, or would you like to?
I do. Are you okay? I want to be
I'm good. I'm good.
respectful of
I'm
your
good.
time.
Yeah. No, what Leanne
Okay.
says is right. We don't learn this in school. And I would say that's definitely why I'm a member of the Guild, because
Yeah.
I know that I didn't learn it. It wasn't taught. And it's critical for the survival of a creative business. And we are trying to teach each other this stuff. I feel like it's my responsibility. It's our responsibility to teach each other too.
Yeah, and sorry, Julie said that she didn't go to school. She's self-taught, just learning
Mhm.
about the book. You get. Again, I'm not trying to proselytize or anything, but if you join the guild, you get the book as part of it. If you
Yep.
already own the book and you join, they'll deduct I think like $20
20
off your
bucks.
membership.
Correct.
So, but I will say, and I will say what's really important is you don't just join the guild or whatever organization you want to join, whatever community you want to join. You don't just join and go, oh, okay, now
Yeah,
what?
that's
What
it.
should I do next?
Right.
No, you actually have to connect. You
Yeah.
actually have to show up. You actually, and I know a lot of us are introverts, and it's hard, and to talk to strangers, but it's so important. If you're going to be a freelancer, if you're going to be a creative, if you want to learn from other people, you got to talk to people and you got to be
Yeah.
part of that community. And because the minute you have a problem, you have people to go to. If you are just a wallflower, do people even say that word anymore? Am I
They do.
dating myself?
No, no.
If you're just a wallflower, then no one will know you when you say, I have a question about, and they might not answer as quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say being a part of a group and not participating, just think being there is enough, is like going to the gym and never working out. It's like going to jujitsu and never actually rolling. You have to get in there. It's the only way that you're gonna understand how to like roll with people and how to gain that confidence because you need the muscle memory. You need that interaction.
That's right. That's right. Ray, I don't know where this comment came from, but I bought it every year. Someone gave me a cape and wand. Shh. Oh, wait, I shouldn't have said anything.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. And I do agree with Leon. Leanne, every student should learn business or how to negotiate. Like those are the things I hit hard once I hit the reality of running a business and how hard it is to be successful. I was just like, okay, I missed this out. And we all have like a library of books that we can share and do share with each other so that we can catch up and help each other become prosperous and confident in what we do.
That's right. And Myra was asking about within the ethical guidelines, whether there's talk of copying other designers' work or the ethics of copying other designers' work. I'm
Mhm.
sure there's something in here about that, but
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of any specific resources that I've seen online other than like, protect your copyright or fair use. Fair use would be a really good thing to look up, and that's definitely in this book. But do a search for fair use. There have been a lot of court cases concerning fair use, but think about like just a very well-known example of Andy Warhol's Campbell Soup screen prints, and he took something and turned it into something else. That's fair use. And sorry, that's the broadest definition of fair use, and I apologize to anyone who's recognizing how broad I'm being. So there are different levels of what you can copy, or to what degree you can copy, or how much you have to change something in order for it to be a new thing.
Hmm.
Uh, and sometimes it's actually not really clear. And there have been court cases where where it seems like fair use, and yet the judge has judged against the second artist. So it's really good to read up on it and understand fair use and just be really careful. However, maybe you're talking about someone using your designs, and maybe that's the kind of thing that you need to educate whoever's using your designs or copying your designs. Sorry, it's very vague, so I can't really.
Well,
Oh wait, here we go.
but we can get into
Yeah.
detail about that at another time. Matter of fact, that maybe that's what we could talk about. We have so many options now. All of this information is amazing. I want to thank everybody for
Yeah.
contributing. That really means a lot to Ed and me. Yes.
Oh, Catherine just yes, I absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on
Oh
that.
no, go ahead.
Um, Catherine, yep, thank you.
Hmm.
That's the message right there.
Yep. And
Oh,
look
good.
at us by the end of the discussion, coordinating the chats and everything. Yeah,
This is
this is
awesome.
yeah, this is our first time in this format, and it has been amazingly fun. This is great.
I have a question though for everyone. Is the background too distracting? we had we had a back and forth on this before we went on, and we're like, just go with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I'm
Well,
very curious what you all think.
and we could do all custom backgrounds for the, we can line up some artwork from people in the community and just throw those
Ooh,
as, I know.
oh,
Wouldn't that
I
be
like
great?
that.
And
Yeah,
then
I
we can
like
put
that
their
a lot.
name, like artwork, blah, 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 so everybody can see who it is.
That's right. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, oh, there's so many great. Oh, you don't like it, Catherine? Okay, but Julie
Oh,
says she doesn't think it's no, and Leanne loves
it's
it.
cool.
It's cool,
Racist is
actually.
cool.
Oh,
Love it. Oh, oh, all right.
oh, wow.
Oh, all right.
Well, I
Ed,
mean,
you did it.
it's not. Well, I want to just be very clear that it's not my artwork.
Yeah, no, but
So,
he was
so
like
I don't
that.
want anyone defending. Like I want to see some people now comment and go, "Oh, really? Never mind then. Hate it."
Unicorny. We got a unicorny.
Unicorny. Yes, LinkedIn graphic design team style.
Yeah. I love the electric company. Come on, the electric company was amazing.
Oh yeah, Catherine. Sorry, I misunderstood your response.
All right. So
What,
maybe
Leanne? Well, looking at us.
she sees enough of us, Ed. She's like, I see enough of you
My
guys.
yeah. So
Okay.
we should respect everyone else's time as well,
Okay.
and maybe conclude. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We talked typically when we get to this point, we're like, oh, so that's an obvious thing that we should talk about next time. We have gone through so many different things here that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even sure what we'll talk about next time. We do this every month, folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Mind Your Creative Business. It's Terrence and myself, and perhaps we'll bring in someone else
Yep.
next time,
Yep.
depending on what the topic is. And we will try and figure out what that topic is. We'll talk after this and kind of see if anything kind of shown through that we
Yeah.
want to discuss. And then we'll post about it. And we're really, Terrence and I are really bad about like, posting what it's going to be about way ahead of time.
Yeah.
You'll
Getting
notice,
better.
yeah, we're on the schedule, the guild schedule, but what the topic will be and any images that come with it, that doesn't end up happening till the day of. Sorry. Busy guy, busy guy. Yeah.
Working on it. Okay. Well,
So thank you all. Yeah, go ahead,
and
Terrence.
I thought of a good sign off for us. You want to hear it? Want to hear it?
I want to hear it.
Thank y'all for joining us. See you at the guild.
Need we say more?
All right. Bye, y'all.
Damn, I said more. Oh.